not my sister. As a kid, I always looked up to my older sis because she was so cool, pretty, and the popular girl. I always tried to be like her, dress like her, listen to her music, you get the idea. I was popular the first time I stepped through the high school door because I was basically a copy of her. I was overwhelmed by the attention, but quickly found out she was mostly popular with only the guys. She dated many of the guys in our high school and they thought I would too. I was so embarrassed, so I had our mom take me out to buy new clothes and everything. Whatever she did, I went the opposite way. She wore tons of makeup, I wore none. She listened to a certain type of music, I didn't. And we went to different colleges. Fast forward to now. Sis must have figured out her lifestyle wasn't healthy, so she stopped dating a bunch of men, deleted all of those apps, and met Sam. He's very good looking with a great personality and amazing job. He was smart, funny, outgoing, and can own the entire room when he walks in. He grew up in a different city so his family doesn't live here, but we've met and they're amazing just like him. Sam quickly replaced us as mom's favorite child and became our dad's best friend. He eventually proposed and everyone was over the moon. I was very happy for sis. Then last week she came to my door looking like a complete wreck. She was crying so hard she couldn't talk. After an hour or so, I calmed her down enough to get the story. Apparently, they were at a party and was mingling separately when he overheard some guys talking about her popularity. Sam joined the group and got her dating history. 2 of the guys in that group dated her, and about 4 other guys at that party did too, one of whom works with him, which is why they were there. He heard about the guys laughing about how all the men in the town were depressed when she went away to college, but rejoiced when she came back. When they got home, he asked her, he told him the truth, and he left without saying a word. I helped sis and she's been staying with me for now. She hasn't told anyone, and have been trying to get in touch with Sam and his family, but they're all ignoring her. Everyone on our side is super confused because Sam just disappeared. Our cousin, my best friend, pinned me down the other day to ask what happened. I told her and she was appalled. She called him all sorts of names and insecure. I said I can understand from his view as we live in a small town, and it's hard to know that many men and your coworkers know your future wife. Then my cousin and I got into it. She said I should be supporting my sis no matter what. I argued that I am supporting her, but supporting doesn't mean I have to agree with her. Now I might lose my best friend. Edit, we're all in our 30s, graduated college, and living on our own. Now for the top comments. You're the idiot, and so is your sister's ex. She deserves better. Quit punishing women for enjoying sex. Just one quick question here as a woman. I don't have any issues with anyone's life choices, but aren't we allowed to make decisions based on what our values are? Maybe they're not compatible when it comes to relationship views or the intimate life, etc. She can live her life the way she wants, but why do Sam cannot make his decision and live the life he wants with the person he prefers? Why is he the bad person for deciding whether something works for him or not? Because this is something that happened years and years ago, not during their relationship. If he's judging her for her past actions, which weren't actually harmful or violent against anyone, despite supposedly being in love with the person she is today, then he sucks. If you love someone, it doesn't make you a great dude kick them to the curb because they had a different lifestyle years before. Unless that lifestyle was like serial killing or puppy torture or something. It may have happened years and years ago, but she and her fiancé went to one party, and he ran into almost half a dozen guys who had slept with her. Maybe he just doesn't want to continue happening for the rest of his life. Like her sister said, it's a small town. Yeah, I absolutely couldn't live someplace where half the town slept with my man and discussed it in groups. Plus, that kind of seems like something you'd be upfront about. Hey hon, before I met you I kind of got around. Maybe she wasn't honest with him or had failed to bring it up, and he got the news in the rudest way possible. No idiots here. Controversial opinion, but I would hate to be in a room and find out that my fiancé slept with half the people in the room. I would feel lied to, because a lie of omission is still a lie. If he had told me his history prior, then I could have been prepared for what may happen or what people may say. Y'all ever watched Gilmore Girls where Rory gets upset when she finds out that she was stuck in a room where all the girls had a fling with her boyfriend, and she was like, you could have at least warned me. Finally, a reasonable post. If it wasn't a big deal, why did she hide it? These people sound like they're riddled with copium about their prior choices in life. Nobody wants to be with someone who's dated the entire town and not even told you. What else important haven't they told you? Will their past history stay in the past, or is it a good predictor of their future in a committed relationship? I dunno, I think a lot of these people in the comments aren't being realistic with how people actually think and judge how trustworthy someone is who you could be spending the rest of your life with. Next story. Am I wrong for telling my ex she has a month to move out? Now for the context. On the 20th of October, my ex broke up with me telling me she didn't love me anymore. The main reason she gave me was that I wasn't there enough for her, and she was frustrated with my lack of housework. This was all completely valid. I've been severely depressed and was slacking hard. She made no attempt to make it work and wanted to end the relationship then and there, which she did. Now I was absolutely devastated. I loved this girl immensely and been with her for 6 years. I was even planning to ask her to marry me in 2024 and had a ring picked and was saving up for it. I went through 2 years of homelessness for her, a whole other story I won't get into, so I could live in the same country as her. I left a lot behind just for her. So understandably, I'm very frustrated that she didn't try and talk to me beforehand so we could fix these issues. Her reason being for not telling me is she was worried I would do something stupid, which I wouldn't have, as proven by when she ended it with me. After all this, I told her she could stay till she finds a place till January. However, recently she's been talking to a guy who she met a week before she left me. He was a college friend I reconnected with and I introduced them both, and has been unloading her feelings on him while shutting me out completely and ending any conversation I start with her. She's also been doing all the stuff we used to do with him. I feel betrayed by this, and just can't have this happen to me under the same roof. It hurts way too much. So with this, and just living with someone you love immensely and doesn't love you back, I told her yesterday that she needs to leave by the 15th of December for my own physical and mental well-being. She very clearly angry at me and says I'm a jerk. Am I wrong for telling her she has a month to leave? Extra bits of context. Unfortunately, all my local friends were originally her friends, so they hate me now, and I have no one to talk to physically, which hurts. I have no family where I currently live. She said she stopped loving me the past year, which has been the peak of my depression. She doesn't have anyone in the area she can live with, and no family in our city. Her job is low paying. Only reason she stays there is that she likes all her coworkers and are good friends with them. She has basically no credit score as he relied on me for that, and she also owns our cats, so she needs to find a pet-friendly place, which isn't always easy. The flat is rented social housing. I'm the one who's on and signed the tenancy. She moved in a month later. Forgot to mention, seeing a theme here, that her parents do have a spare bedroom at their place about an hour and 30 minutes away, so worst case scenario she's living with them again. Not wrong. 30 days is a pretty standard warning, and if you'd asked outsiders for advice, giving a month's notice is the advice you would have gotten. You'd think she'd want to leave. Living with an ex sounds like a mental health nightmare. You're definitely doing the right thing. Are you covered legally? Is the house or lease just in your name? Yay, it's a rented social tenancy. It's in my name and my name only. I'd give her a few days to leave, not a month. She needs to be gone as soon as possible. Right. She broke up with you, bro. Did she think she'd still live there forever after the breakup? You're only taking 2 weeks away from her by asking her to leave by December 15th versus January. The only thing to do when you break up with someone is to leave, even if you have to fulfill some obligation, like continuing to pay your share for 30 days or whatever. She broke up the relationship. She leaves the house, especially if she's dating again. You gave her plenty of notice, but check squatter and rent rights in your area. She could potentially take you to court for not following them. Good luck. Sorry that happened to you. Not the idiot. She isn't dating him. She's dating other people with no regard of OP's feelings. She's free to see whomever she pleases, but that doesn't mean she has to do it in OP's house. Next story. Am I wrong for not getting on a flight upon finding out that he put my kids in economy? Plus update. So, my fiancé has 3 kids from his former marriage, whilst I have 2 from my former marriage as well. I quit my job to start focusing on getting my degree. He's become the breadwinner, if you will, although I still contribute with my savings. I also do 80% of childcare and chores. Long story short, he wanted me and my kids to attend Thanksgiving with his family, who are located across country, and we were supposed to go yesterday, ahead of time, to get a rental place. He booked our tickets and everything, but later before the flight, I found out that he, his kids, and myself were put in first class whilst my 2 kids, 14 and 10, were put in economy. I was stunned. He acted like it was a no big deal and told us it's just few hours and the kids could just hang in there for a little while. I asked how he could think this was acceptable, and he got mad and said he's the one paying for tickets, then we go by his rules. I immediately turned around and took the kids and made my way out of the airport. He started following us, screaming at me to go back, but I refused and told him that I no longer felt like spending Thanksgiving with his folks after this. My youngest cried because she never flew without me. He went with his kids, me and the kids are home. He has not stopped calling trying to berate me, and even had his mom text that I needed to get over myself and stop teaching my kids to be spoiled and entitled. She said that the fact that I was willing to miss Thanksgiving with the family over something so trivial shows my real character and personality, and mindset or lack thereof. I have not replied, but I feel horrible. Am I the idiot? Should I have just let it slide and just went? In case I wasn't clear, me and the kids left our family/hometown so we could go celebrate with his family in his hometown. My kids weren't too excited leaving their grandparents for a week or so. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not wrong. His kids in first class, your kids in economy. That's a bad sign for the future. Then his response is to berate you, and future mother-in-law calling your kids spoiled and entitled. Even worse. It would not have ended here. I would be done with that relationship. Yes, the OP should end that relationship. Feels like OP is in a situation where she can't leave him. That's why she didn't mention it in her post. It's possible. She absolutely shouldn't marry him though. No, you are right and not in the wrong. Either all kids fly one way or no dice. If you can afford first class for 4, you can afford first class for 6, or all fly economy if you don't want kids to feel entitled. He has clearly shown where your kids rate to him, especially over his kids. You may want to rethink marriage to someone like that. Notice how not a single one of his excuses or reasons are about money though. Yeah, it's probably unrealistic for most people to afford 6 first-class tickets, but if that's the case, 1, it should have been handled better, or like you said, everyone should have flown economy, and 2, he would have said he couldn't afford it when she found out and got upset. None of it was about the cost, only my money, my decision. They can tough it out, don't be entitled and spoiled, it's not a big deal. Like, this is so clearly not about the money. Now for the update. I'm currently getting myself and the kids packed so that we go stay with my mother. This has happened before in other instances, but I kept thinking to myself, this is not right, but I have invested too much time and effort in this relationship, so maybe this shouldn't get in the way. And I try to minimize most situations where I find my kids being put last. Not only that, but he tried to give me an ultimatum regarding getting my degree, and what was my response? This isn't right, but kept making light of it and letting go. Now he's probably bad-mouthing me to the whole family, and so is his mom, bless her effing heart. The kids and I are leaving, he'll be coming back to an empty home. Except he'll find some company with the engagement ring that I took off and left on the nightstand. Distance and some reevaluation is needed right now. Thank you to all who reached out with helpful input and perspectives. You're right, my kids come first, and that's what I keep trying to do, and I hope I won't ever fail. Thank you so much for the support. Last story. Am I wrong for confronting my husband for treating the girls so differently? My husband and I have been dating for 5 years, married for 1. He has a daughter, Luna, and I have a daughter called Anya. We have decided not to combine our finances, and each one of us will provide for our own daughter. Anya is about a month older than Luna. For Anya's birthday, I was planning to buy a car for her, and I found a nice second-hand car, but it was $4,000 over my budget. I asked my husband if he could lend me that sum, but he said he can't afford it right now, so I ended up getting a cheaper car. Luna's birthday came and my husband bought her a Honda, and it wasn't even second-hand, it was new. I confronted him and told him if he could afford a new Honda, I'm sure he could afford to give me $4,000. He said if he had given me that $4,000, then he couldn't afford this car. I told him he could have given her a less expensive car, maybe even a second-hand one. He called me in a hole and said we agreed to only be responsible for our own child, but I think it's unfair to treat them so differently. Anya is very upset right now, and Luna bragging about her new car is only making things worse. You're the idiot. At the end of the day, you agreed to separate finances here for your kids. That means these sorts of inequities will happen. You don't get the perks of split finances without the drawbacks. Who is getting the perks though? Presumably both parties regularly when they agreed to this arrangement. Lord knows. I personally don't get how a healthy marriage happens with split finances, but I know and understand that it does seem to work from people I know, while lots of folks on here that sing its praises. The entire idea is alien to me. But what's even more alien is the idea that you have separate finances until you want something. That's bonkers. I can understand it completely if people have a joint account for household expenses, but keep their fun money separate. But doing it for the children's expenses seems like it's ripe for building resentment between the girls if one partner has significantly more money than the other. You're the idiot. You buy a car for your daughter. He buys a car for his daughter. Stick to your agreement. He's clearly sticking to what was agreed upon. I don't get how paying for your own kid translates to not taking the other person's kid into consideration ever, or do whatever you want without communicating to your spouse. While I don't get this arrangement, it was something they agreed to. She seemed to be fine with it until now. If this was a situation where one kid got a car and the other got like a Nintendo Switch, I could see your point. But both kids got cars. You both wanted to stay separate and support kids separate. Not his fault you were short on funds, and not his responsibility to make up the difference. Because separate finances. And let me guess, if the situation were reversed, would you have really given him the $4,000? Be honest. Agreeing with you here. Separate means separate OP. You're the idiot. He is not responsible for your kid and you aren't responsible for his.